Welcome back to Ask Radrat, where I answer all of your questions about skateboarding topics. I make videos about topics from all over the skateboarding world, so you can check out some of my playlists available right here. So, first question today, I've got two for you, is from Matthew Farmer, who wants to know, do nuts and bolts really matter? So if you're new to skateboarding, we usually call that hardware, but typically the hardware makes very, very little difference. I can only think of really two things that are kind of important. First would be, I really like to have two silver bolts or two that are a different color, and it helps at a glance tell which is your nose and your tail. So you have two on the tail, then it's really obvious and you don't need to look at the nose and figure out which one's bigger. So that's one thing. The other thing is for freestylers, sometimes they'll put really long bolts in the front spot. So I don't have them, but they'll put really long bolts right here and with two nuts. So one to tighten it and one to just kind of cap it. And they do that so there's more surface area when you want to do a pogo. So you have a little more area. Of course, that's like, you know, 1,000th of a percent of skateboarders will do that. But I mean, that's one of the only other hardware things that I know about. The only thing you need to keep in mind is to buy some decent ones. You can get a skateboard brand, and the only thing that's special about them is that the bolt will be the exact length so that you don't tighten it and then it sticks way out. But aside from that, you want to get some decent ones. Last time I bought hardware, I got it like the cheapest dollar set of hardware, and what happened is when I tightened it, the metal kind of bent and like kind of twisted with the screwdriver, and so I can only use it once because, you know, the pattern on the screw was like, you know, messed up. So as long as you get decent ones, it really doesn't make much of a difference. Next question is from Sean is something, and a few other people asked about this too. Why are people riding wider decks again, and when did this happen? So this is kind of a recent trend. In the past few years, it seems like decks are 8 inches and above, like 8 is small. Back when I first started skating, like everyone I knew was skating a 7.5, and 7.75 was like big, at least among high school kids, you know. But it's kind of a strange thing. I didn't really notice that for a while because I would buy a board, I'd just buy it online and pick the size I want and there it goes. But I've seen people talking about it online. You go into a skate shop and it's hard to find anything still within the 7s somewhere. So I've looked into it and I've come up with a couple things. So what people talk about a lot is that it's more stable. So you have more of a landing surface and things like that. It's a little easier to catch because, you know, you can catch it with your whole foot, that kind of thing. But aside from that, it could be just an aesthetic thing. It looks a little bit better. You got a big old graphic, you know. But you get a little bit more foot room too. But one of the biggest things I think makes a difference is the skateboard tech that makes everything a little bit lighter. So if you have, back in the day, if you were to get an 8-inch board versus today's 8-inch board, it's going to be a lot lighter. The trucks are going to be lighter, there's less wasted space. You don't have skid plates and rails. The wood itself is not only thinner because of the concave, but also they may be lighter because of, you know, the new technologies. It has a carbon fiber thing so that they can use less wood. All that kind of stuff makes it where it's more functional and possible to use a really wide board. Now I think that's another one of the big things there too. But the way it is right now, I think it's kind of a fad. Whether it'll stay or not, who really knows? But you can give them a try and see if it works for you. If not, it's still, you know, other ones are still available. You just might have to look a little bit more. Well, that's it for this time. Ask all of your questions below. You can either be about skateboarding in general, it can be about the channel, it can be about me. Do it in the comments here or on Instagram or Twitter. There are links to both of those below as well. So until next time, here's some more videos that you might want to check out, and thank you for watching.